this is how you win every argument. This is the secret. This is the secret to how you win every argument ever, right? Have you heard of this thing called concern trolling? What a concern troll is? Very interesting. I found out about it, and I wondered if I do it by accident sometimes, because I'm always I'm a bit of a people pleaser, and I always want, people to feel comfortable in every situation. What concern trolling is somebody being a bit deliberate, and they pretend that they agree with you about something, usually something you're passionate about, and then spend the rest of the conversation trying to undermine your position. And it's kind of a really sort of cunning and clever way of either changing minds or making people feel a bit silly. So I wondered if there was any subject that you might be passionate about, that I'm not passionate about, but could pretend to be.
Hang on, run through how it works. Why have they chosen a name that's so similar to trolling when it is?
Why is it?
It feels very far removed from just the throwing in a grenade and closing the door. Because you see that on comment sections on YouTube.
It's more subtle.
Yeah.
It's like it's something that probably only quite smart people could really get away with, which is why it's not prevalent on social media.
And it's why it's something you think you've been doing by accident.
But why would you do it if you don't want if you don't like someone but you don't want to know?
Hey, no, you see, you jumped the gun there. You see, I'm not saying I don't like the person.
You just want to
See,
play
that's
with
a
them.
bit of a, you see, you've gone all young person on me there, where the person is the opinion, and I don't feel that way. It's the way I was brought up. You could rightly disagree with people, and you could still be friends. This is growing very uncommon. I found out the other day that I'm above the average age of people in this country, which means I'm in the top half of. I'm nearer to death than the average person. I'm slightly younger than the Prime Minister, okay?
You're much younger than him, surely.
No, I know it's hard to believe with this youthful face. But that's what happens when you allow the years to continue and you don't kill yourself, all right? That's where you end up. Now, with this situation, you could perfectly well like the person, but you just want to change their mind on something, or something they believe annoys you a bit. So you go, do you know what?
Isn't that just having a discussion?
Is it?
But you're doing it with the intent. You're doing it with the intent to change their mind.
Let's say.
But that's how most people would go into it. Not like.
Yeah, it's true.
Let's pick a favourite one, right? So like environmentalism, yeah. So that's always a grenade of a conversation.
Yeah.
And if you're around a mixed group, as we are, someone will say, I'm passionate about the environment. I think we should do this, and I think if we do that, then we'll save ourselves.
Yeah. And
the concern troll, who isn't passionate about the environment, or maybe thinks, maybe we've gone too far, and maybe we're taxing people too much for things that won't actually work and won't, get anywhere, and probably it's all just a bit stupid.
Does the concern troll always have to be the baddie? Do you know what I mean? Because in that instance,
no, because
sort of
they might have the perfectly correct point of view.
Okay, so it could also, and I'm just trying to get my head around it still. So in that situation, it could also be that the person at the table says we're doing too much for climate change. This is a waste of time. Okay. I need to see more science that the climate is changing. Yeah. And the concern and the other person. It would be
hard to concern troll that person.
Would it?
Yeah.
So you can't control.
I think it's hard because then it's like difficult to argue against them.
Yeah.
But if it's on the other side, it's quite easy to argue. Okay. So the way that you would start off is you would go, oh yeah, I'm really concerned about the environment too. But I think we're placing too much emphasis on solar panels. After 25 years, they stop working and they haven't found an effective way to throw them away or dispose of them. So in a way, they're just kind of creating more landfill. The other thing too with them in this country is they've only got 20% as much ability to take in the sun as they would in, say, Southern California or the Arabian Peninsula. I think if you're here, you focus on wind, right? Now, I've said that, and you go, well, he's come up with facts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing unreasonable
Yeah.
there. And he's said he's pro-environment.
Yeah.
And he has...
You've hooked us in.
So I've hooked you in there.
Yeah.
I am pro-environment, by the way. And then, or did I do it again? Right? Don't know, right? So, but the wind, you go, but he's given a concession on wind.
Yeah.
But what does he say after that? He goes, of course, with the wind situation, we've already invested such a lot of money in that, and it's now a significant part of our renewable energy package.
So that, and then you sort of find that you're going, done.
Yeah. And my concern
Here endeth.
My concern with more of them is not merely the cost at the time of a cost of living crisis, where we're raising levies on these things. It's also birds. I'm a bit worried about the wildlife.
Yeah.
Because
how has the wildlife reacted to wind farms?
Well, in a deadly fashion.
Yeah.
They're always finding dead birds at the bottom of the wind farms because they just bang into they don't really expect a massive windmill.
Okay. Because those flight paths, because people have done tests, right, and the birds have been on the same flight paths for a while, and then all of a sudden, wind farm, where'd that come from?
Where'd that come
last
from?
summer?
Whack.
Yeah.
They're quite fragile, even the big ones. I mean, that's how they get lift, They're not.
It is unfortunate, isn't it? Because you would say that the most sturdy one would be an ostrich, but of course, flightless.
Can't fly.
Yeah.
That's the irony.
That is the irony.
And even though they're quite tall, it'd be safe because they don't swing at they're about 6 feet tall, aren't they? You'd be fine.
And you get the people owning the land being like, God, if we'd had a load of ostriches and even potentially emus go through here, they would have been perfectly safe.
And ostriches are in Africa, where they should be doing the solar panels because it's far more effective.
Yeah.
The wind is less important.
And are birds being affected by solar panels? I don't hear enough about that.
I wonder if you could get a reflected, like how you do a magnifying glass on a...
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a way to birds get burned. I haven't heard of it, but maybe if they land.
It sounds like the exact sort of thing that if you were running a solar panel company, you'd be wanting to keep that pretty hush hush, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You wouldn't want that getting out.
Burning their feet on them or something.
Yeah.
Well, in which case it's probably happening.
Yeah.
And we just don't know about it because they've been effective in their hush hush.
But so concern trolling, so it's a tactic to get people to agree with you by agreeing with them.
Yeah, in a way. So if you had something else that you were passionate about, and I would go, oh yeah, I agree with that, but maybe we need to think about some kind of complex thing around it that means we don't really do it anymore, and change what we're doing. So if you were still on the environmentalist thing, one of the things that they argue about, environmentalists, is they argue about nuclear power. You have like crazy environmentalists who go, no, it's terrible because of Chernobyl and bombs, and then you have like the more sensible ones who go, yeah, but it should be part of the energy mix because it gets us to our carbon situation quicker and blah blah blah, and then they have so if you were a sensible environmentalist, so you could even come on and say, I care about the environment, you're not even lying.
Would both those groups be able to concern troll each other if they're having that? Or would they just get some sort of stalemate?
Trolling's normally for fun, or to not serious, but that's I don't know. Maybe it's just the example, but that's quite a serious topic, and
I think that's fun.
Fair.
I mean, I
enough.
think it can be fun, really.
But it's equally like someone was like, "What's your favourite Toy Story?" and someone was like 4, and someone was like, "It's definitely 2," and then you could do it.
Wasn't
for
it
that.
three,
you
though?
would say, 4 was really good because of this, but actually, when you look at 2,
What's the one where they're all going into the hell?
That's 3.
That's the best one, isn't it?
That's an emotionally
draining film.
But it is.
But could you say it's the best?
I think I've only seen that one and the first one.
You missed 2.
Yeah. Do you think 2's better?
I think it's worth a watch. I'd say watch 2 and get back to me.
Well, it's this time of year, it's plenty of time then. Maybe I'll do that later.
Yeah.
So if you were concerned trolling about Toy Story, it would probably be a bit more like I'd want to change your mind about... Problem I've got
Yeah.
This is how you win every argument. This is the secret. This is the secret to how you win every argument ever, right? You do loads and loads of research, loads and loads of research on the subject matter so that you know all the points,
Yeah.
good and bad, about the thing that you believe.
Yeah.
And then you come to a reasoned conclusion about how you think about something.
Yeah.
You then come up against someone who hasn't done any of that research, they haven't even done 5 minutes, but they're more passionate than you are and have taken a position that is opposite to yours.
Passion's not going to win out, is it?
Sorry, I was going to say, are you waiting for that conversation to then come up? Say this is the thing you've devoted lots of time to, this conversation, like environmentalism. Are you waiting just for that to come up, or are you infiltrating that?
This is a perfect way around the passionate know-nothing, okay? Because the passionate know-nothing who's like really serious and like banging their fist on the table, right? But they don't know anything. And they've come to a conclusion that offends you because it's the opposite of your conclusion, which was reasoned and balanced, right? That's where you have fun, because you come in and say, oh no, I care about that as well. But what about this nuanced part of it? Okay, and then immediately they're like, you know, they're like drowning, and then you just kind of
and then the enjoyment is watching them
and
drown.
hopefully other people are there, and kind of, and as they crumble, so goes their argument, and everybody watching.
that makes
some
you
sort of
feel
argument
It's
sinkhole.
humiliating for them.
I
They're
feel,
sinking,
I feel
you're
brilliant.
rising,
Yeah.
Yeah,
lording over that conversation.
yeah, they're drowning,
Yeah.
and I'm flying above the ocean.
Any
Laughing.
attempt to save them? No. There you go. You've brought this on yourself.
Yeah, they can save themselves by
research.
admitting they were wrong.
Yeah.
I see. And then does that level you back up at that point?
That means they know. I mean, I'm still up there,
Okay.
but they're able to take a breath. They can tread water now.
Okay. An egg beater out.
If they want to get into the sky, they need to do the research that I did, which is against their nature.
And are you saying I have done so much research on this at any point?
No, because that sounds arrogant.
Yeah.
So you're always coming in. I don't want this to like how to teach people to concern troll. Okay, that was not what this segment was meant to be about. Okay, but that appears to be what we are doing. So no, you don't say, "Hey, I'm try and avoid saying things like, "Hey, I'm brilliant and you suck," because that's like an argument loser. Okay, that's the kind of thing they would say.
Yeah.
Okay? They would start swearing at you. The
Throwing
more
the toys out
passionate
the
they
pram.
were, they'd be like, "No, you're horrible," and other words, right?
Yeah.
And then you know you've got them.
Yeah.
And the
They're
good
raising
thing,
their voice at this point, and you've stayed calm.
and the good thing about being as old as I am is you don't get into fist fights anymore.
Have you ever? What if the other person just knows more? Or has that just never happened to you?
Well, now we're getting into the hypothetical realm of.
So if it's hypothetical, it has never happened. So every argument that you've had, you've known more than the other person. And I'm not saying I disbelieve that.
I don't. Well,
I just want to hear it from the horse's
it,
mouth.
It sounds bad, but it has to be true somewhere in the world, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I
That's-
don't get
yeah.
into many arguments because I don't surround myself with foolish people. Okay, so there's that as well. So it's not a question. If I were having a daily argument, you know, a bit like a boxer, you eventually would kind of get punched drunk. Maybe you'd come up against someone who really knew their stuff. Okay, when you've done the level of research into the things that I know about, then you really don't need to have arguments very often.
Yeah.
And you surround yourself with people who are like, hey, kind of, I'm not going to get into it with him because A, I probably agree with him anyway, which is why we're friends. And B, if I didn't agree with him, I know he's done more research, would kick my ass. So I'll probably just take his opinion as my own. Okay.
You should probably watch Toy Story 2 though.
It's a good film.
That'll be on the list. Coming into Limbo Week, perfect. Toy Story 2. You think that's the best? You think?
I think one's the best.
Yeah.
One.
One, 2. I think
Great.
3, but that's from ignorance. And that's an admission.
That's the mission. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
an admission.
Yeah.
You've
So-
gone. I haven't got all the info there.
Yeah.
I'm
Haven't
going to
done
wait
the
until I have,
research.
and then we'll get
You're
into
not
it.
yelling, you're not shouting.
And then you'll call me up
And do the
Boxing Day
research.
and be like,
So you're right, you're wrong.
yeah,
And
You had a
here's why.
point, but here's the flaw in it.
And
whatever,
then
whatever.
control you.
yeah, and I'll put the
Into
phone down and
thinking.
go, God, you just did it.
Yeah.
You've
You
done
just
it
did
again.
And
You've done it
at
again.
the end of that, you'll think 3's the best.
Well, what I would say is I'd say, yeah, two is really good.
But
thing about 3 is it was more emotionally engaging. 2 does have this, but I don't. See,
And that's
and then eventually, if I've done my job right, you're not sure whether 2 or 3 is better. Like to get you all the way to 3.
It's weird because even just listening, I don't know. You've not seen it, and I don't know now.
3 was good, wasn't
that
it?
seed of doubt has been planted.
3 was good, wasn't
wow.
it?
Yeah.
Just that, like the graphics were slightly better.
Yeah, they were actually.
They were slightly more assured in terms of like I don't know because I haven't watched 2. But they were quite assured about the journey that the characters took. It was about the boy becoming grown up and not being interested in his toys anymore, which was.
Yeah.
And you look at it and go, we're all that boy.
It was more substantive.
God, it was good.
Right, there we are. So do you think Toy Story 3 probably the best now?
I need to watch them all again.
You need a good concern trolling.